Good morning. Hey, welcome to worship. I'm happy to see you guys. Welcome to worship Rose Valley. Hey, we're here for theological reasons. I hope that the reason you've come to church today is not just to check off the box that makes me a good Christian. Check. I went to church this week, but you're here to worship together. There's something special about worshiping together, and there's something about seeing each other that that's just different. You can't accomplish that unless you're gathered together. And that's not to disparage those that can't gather with us online. I pray that you guys also feel connected and a part of us. So as a call to worship, we're going to go through the Lord's Prayer, but not quite yet. Because I want to ask the question, why should we use written prayers? Jesus gave us a written prayer, but there are so many written prayers. And shouldn't prayers be more authentic? Shouldn't they be more spontaneous, making them more genuine, coming straight off the top of our minds? Like, if that's you, if you're thinking we shouldn't use prayers for that reason, my question for you would be, how do your dinner prayers go? Don't they not often get stuck in the same set of cliche phrases? That's how it is at our house. And growing up, my dad almost always started with, "Thank you for this nice day." And it was kind of rote. And while Jesus taught his disciples to pray, he gave them a preformed set of phrases like the Lord's Prayer. And this wasn't because Jesus didn't value authenticity or heartfelt prayers, but because he knew his followers needed more guidance than that. The Lord's Prayer is kind of like framing of a house. It provides the basic outline and structure for how to think about God and how to commune with him. And without the Lord's Prayer, it's unlikely that any of Jesus' Jewish followers would have called God by Father. In the same way, I am really unlikely to reflect on, let alone confess, my sins of omission, for example. If it weren't for the line in one written prayer, "Most merciful God, we confess that we have sinned against you in thought, word, and deed, by what we have done and by what we have left undone." So written prayers are kind of like guides for our thoughts, and they often teach us really rich theological truths in the process. So we are still invited to adorn this framing of the house with all kinds of decor and even the decay of our own lives. Rather than quickly reading over a prayer like some kind of incantation, but we should allow the words to provoke our own reflections and our own words and allow them, through the Holy Spirit, to do their work in our hearts and to transform us. So, let's do that today. So let's open up our worship today by reading the Lord's Prayer, which will be on the screen. So I invite you to stand as we read through this. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed is your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Let's sing Jesus Messiah. I need to plug myself in. He became sin, who knew no sin, that we might become his righteousness. He humbled himself and carried the cross. Love so amazing, love so amazing. Jesus Messiah, name above all names. rescue for sinners, the ransom from heaven, Jesus Messiah, Lord of all. His body the bread, His blood the wine, broken and poured out, all for love. The whole earth trembled, and the veil was torn. Love so amazing, love so amazing, yeah. Jesus Messiah, name above all names, blessed Redeemer, Emmanuel, the rescue for sinners, the ransom from heaven, Jesus Messiah, Lord of all. All our hope is in you. All our hope is in you. All the glory to you, God, the light of the world, Jesus Messiah, name above all names, blessed Redeemer, Emmanuel, the rescue for sinners, the ransom from heaven, Jesus Messiah, Lord of all. Jesus Messiah, Lord of all. Go ahead and turn to your neighbor and greet them. Welcome those of you watching online. Glad for you tuning in.
Did you find out with Robert when you're going to do the survey?
You guys first.
Right now. Maybe. What?
Good morning, everyone. How are you? It's good to see each and every one of you here this morning. Katie, could you bring me down just a little bit? Thank you. There, now I'm depressed. No, I'm kidding. It's good to have each and every one of you. How many of you had an absolutely wonderful weekend so far? All right, one of you. That's great. No, actually, for those of you watching us online, almost every hand went up. And so that's wonderful when we have an opportunity to have a wonderful weekend and we get to gather together with our church family and we get to worship today. So we're glad you're here. If you take out your announcements, your bulletin, we have a few announcements so that everybody knows what's going on. First thing we want you to know is that we are looking for volunteers to spend some time in the office, a couple hours a day, a couple days a week. We have somebody to cover Tuesday. If you would like to do that, we'd appreciate that very much. If you are interested in helping us in our church office, please come see me. I would appreciate that. You may have noticed as you walked in this morning that we have a very special guest with us today. Actually, throughout the whole month of October, out in the welcome area, we have Old Bessie, the community house cow. One of the things that we do to be a blessing to our community is we provide milk for the community house for their meals, 4 gallons a day, and we will be doing that through the month of October. If you'd like to help out, all you do is you go back to Old Bessie, take one of the dates off of there. They're on a Post-it note. Take that home, buy 4 gallons of milk with you, and then bring it to the community house. And I'm going to give you a little shopping tip. If you buy your milk at Safeway, don't. I'll tell you why. Because milk is much cheaper at both Winco and Walmart. And there, if you buy your milk at one of those 2 places, you can afford to buy 2 days worth of milk. So there, I saved you some money, and it cost you some money at the same time. If you would do that, that's great. Community House is really an important ministry in Kelso and Longview, and we want to be a blessing to them. And if you would do that, we would appreciate that very much. Coming up, starting on Wednesday, October 13th, from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. in classroom number 8, we have our Wednesday morning women's Bible study that's resuming. Nancy Biddix will be teaching that class on the book of Zechariah. Now, this is part 2. If you missed part 1, don't feel bad because Nancy's going to start with a review. You are Nancy. Okay. She's going to start with a review so you can just jump in right here with part 2. If you do that, that'd be great. Nancy, you're looking forward to this, aren't you? Yes, you are. Good. All right. So that starts Wednesday, October 13th, 9 a.m., classroom number 8, just down that hallway right there. Nathaniel, you have an announcement of something that you would like some information from us.
So I hope if you have a smartphone, awesome. If you don't have a smartphone, there are paper surveys in the place, the basket where you get your announcements, or you get your bulletin. Yes.
So can you raise your hand if you do not have a smartphone with you today? Isaiah and Elijah, will you go get the paper surveys and pass them out to anybody who has their hand raised?
If you don't have a smartphone and you have not grabbed the survey yet.
So if you don't have if you need a survey,
flag down those kiddos.
Yeah.
So the reason we're giving this survey is, I'm going to read the description that's at the top of this, so we're on the same page. Because COVID has changed everything, including how we do church, at RVFC, we're trying to discern what the next step is and how we should respond to the changing world around us. And COVID has highlighted our human and our Christian need for community, and we want to do better at meeting that need. The focus of the survey is to get your feedback on a specific idea we have. Imagine with us a community night once a week. This is obviously an idea we're working with, and we want your guys' help to refine this. Once a week, maybe Wednesdays, where we first share a meal together, and then we open up the rest of the church for a plethora of all kinds of opportunities. Youth group, men and women's Bible studies, 6-week studies on books of the Bible or certain topics, small groups, things like that. Perhaps a few times a year, we'd have a game night, and we'd all take all of these groups together and have some fun. And the opportunities for this are endless. It's a block of time that we can do pretty much whatever we want with. So the vision of this is to be a very flexible and adaptable format. So this survey is meant to get your feedback on that idea. Sue brought up, there is no question for this on the survey. Sue brought up a question she'd like to add at the end. There is a space at the end you can utilize for this. It's just, if you have some other ideas, please give us those ideas. And so, what was your?
Well, I was just thinking this morning that it would be just, if you have something on your mind that would be the most helpful to you in your spiritual development right now. All of us are kind of in different places. If you have a thought, would you write it down in that other spot? If there's something that you feel like this would be the most helpful thing for me, write it down. We, the Christian Ed committee, labored long and hard, just talking about people are busy, and we don't just want to add another something to make you busier. We really, really want to be growing in our walk with Christ. We really want to be building community. And so don't just feel like, oh, here's another thing to make me busier, but what can Rose Valley Friends Church do to really help your spiritual walk?
Even if if it looks nothing like what we're asking you about in the survey. So if you have a smartphone, please go to rosevalleyfriends.com, rosevalleyfriends.com, and just underneath the picture of our church, it's right there. It's the very first thing about take a survey. So rosevalleyfriends.com, go there on your smartphone, and you can fill this out on your phone.
And we're asking you to do it right now because
Right
we
now.
know you're busy.
Yeah.
So we're just going to take 1 minute to do it right now.
Yep, including those of you online. Go ahead and fill this out for us too, please. If you're local. If you live in Belize, you don't need to fill it out.
you so much for giving us your honest thoughts, and we really, really appreciate it. If you submit this survey and then have a thought later, also feel free to fire an email to the office.
Did anybody else have trouble connecting to the Wi-Fi? To the public? Okay, you got there eventually. Well, you can always, if you haven't finished it out, finish it during the sermon. Just kidding. All right, I invite you to stand, and yeah, please finish that at your earliest convenience, but please do finish it. And if you needed a paper copy and we ran out, please let me know, and we'll print off as many as we need after the service, and I would need at least one. So there's one more right there? Cool. So we need at least one, and if we need more than one, let me know. All right. I cast my mind to Calvary, where Jesus bled and died for me. I see his wounds, his hands, his feet, my Savior on that cursed tree. His body bound and drenched in tears, they laid him down in Joseph's tomb, the entrance sealed by heavy stone. Messiah still and all alone. Oh, praise the name of the Lord our God. Oh, praise his name forevermore. For endless days we will sing your praise. Oh, Lord our God. They on the third at break of dawn, the Son of Heaven rose again. O trampled death, where is your sting? The angels roar for Christ the King. Oh, praise the name of the Lord our God. Oh, praise his name forevermore. For endless days we will sing your praise. Oh, Lord our God. He shall return in robes of white. The blazing sun shall pierce the night, and I will rise among the saints, my gaze transfixed on Jesus' face. Oh, praise the name of the Lord our God. O Lord, O Lord our God. Go ahead and hit play on the multi-track. In the darkness we were waiting, without hope, without light, till from heaven you came running. There was mercy in your eyes, to fulfill the law and prophets. To a virgin came the word, from a throne of endless glory to a cradle in the dirt. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. To reveal the kingdom coming and to reconcile the lost, to reveal the creation. You did not despise the cross, for even in your suffering you saw to the other side, knowing this was our salvation. Jesus, for our sake you died. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. In the morning that you rose, all of heaven held its breath, till the stone was moved for good, for the Lamb had conquered death. And the dead rose from their tombs, and the angels stood in awe, for the souls of all who'd come to the Father are restored. And the Church of Christ was born, and the Spirit lit the flame. Now this gospel truth of old shall not kneel, shall not faint. By His blood and in His name, in His freedom I am free. For the love of Jesus Christ, who has resurrected me. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of. Praise the Father. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. Praise forever to the King of Kings. Jesus, we lift you up in praise. We have entered into a story that is marvelous to tell. The story of creation and fall and redemption through the Son, and we ourselves have been redeemed. And the story of our redemption becomes not only a story in the chorus of so many people's redemption, not only creation's redemption, but not only becomes a single story, but it becomes part of this tapestry that you're redeeming everything. You are making all things new. And that example is given us in Jesus Christ. The example of even the death and the resurrection and the renewal that you've brought into the world. We are part of that, God. May we make our lives more and more part of that in the mundane, in the everyday stuff. May we bring the redemption to it. May we bring the redemption to our own stories of pain and abuse and neglect or even our sin. Jesus, you bring redemption through it all. And in response to that, God, we lift our lives up to you. Not just our wallets, not just our time, an hour and a half or so every Sunday, but we lift our whole lives to you in response to the work that you have started in the world through Jesus and continue in us, the church. We lift you up in praise, Jesus. Amen. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take my life and let it be consecrated, Lord, to thee. Take my moments and my days, let them flow in ceaseless praise. Let them flow in ceaseless praise. Take my hands and let them move at the impulse of thy love. Take my feet and let them be swift and beautiful for thee. Swift and beautiful for thee. Take my silver. Take my silver and my